Yo, welcome everybody to episode 2 of How Many Wheels, a brand new podcast that is slightly less scuffed production today, but still somewhat scuffed as we kind of find our feet and figure out what exactly this show is about and all the different things that we're doing. So, new addition, Evan with the camera, welcome. No longer
Hello.
a unicycle. Zero
Those
wheels now? Question mark.
That's what you think.
cyborg or wheelie
What?
chair?
Oh,
Cyborg
I do
or
have a
wheelie
wheelie
chair?
I am on a wheelie chair. The wheelie
Then
chair, however, has 5 wheels on it.
mine too.
Nice.
Welcome to Chair
Like
Corner, where we discuss
we're
and
like
compare our wheelie chairs.
we're like sea urchins or starfish or
We are
uh
wheelie
what else?
starfish.
Yeah. Well, we have 5, in my case, symmetrical things. So we have pentaradial symmetry, like echinoderms, which include starfish and sand dollars and sea urchins.
Absolutely. I
Welcome to
couldn't have said
Sea
it better.
Urchin Podcast. Or no, that's what we have to save that for the Sea Urchin Podcast. That's later.
Right. Different section of the podcast that is totally not about robots and all about symmetry and math and
Sea Urchins.
yes, absolutely. So, yeah, we have a fun kind of topic list set up for today, and one of the things that we're planning in the future is, well, we're trying to plan uh, different things for the future that are going to be interesting. So, one of the things that's happening is talking about games and what makes a game good, what makes a game not so good, but in a different kind of way than has been done before, I guess. Somebody want to jump in here and
I
talk about
think
it?
we let him struggle. I think we let him struggle to keep trying to explain it.
I mean, I can
Carry
sit
on.
here in silence all day.
That'd make a wonderful podcast.
So, I mean,
Yes. So, one commonly talked about debate in FRC is which games are the best. I mean, everyone has their favorite games. There's some consensus on what games are good, but not really any on just like the best. Personally, I like 2016 a lot. But we're gonna put an end to all the debate. That's not true. We're gonna intensify the debate.
we're going to make it
and
objectively worse, actually.
we're gonna make an objectively worse objective list about which games are the objective best. So we are doing a thing that has a name, maybe. Brennan, Taegen.
Do we even have a
Wanna
name
name
for
it?
it? Like, it's just
You
like
wanna name it? I think
What?
Taegen can name it.
Oh, I
Taken's good
should
at
name it.
names.
Yeah.
I am.
On the spot
Well, you're
naming
good at making
process.
funny names.
I'm good at making funny names. Well, it's a bracket, right? So
Mm-hmm.
call it game bracket challenge.
Wow. Yeah, it's really creative. All right,
I
excellent.
don't know.
Game
Okay,
bracket
give me
challenge.
like a day. Yeah, well,
The epic
for
game
now,
bracket of eternal death.
We'll have a cool name for it eventually. Basically, the gist of it is, we are getting people who are interested in repping a specific game, and that specific game, depending on who we get to kind of rep them, they'll randomly
battle to the death.
be sorted up against each other, and they'll be kind of like debating against each other, and we'll have some sort of judging process, maybe through chat and like polls and kind of stuff, and see who won the debate, who you thought did a better job of convincing you that their game was the best. And yeah, I think it'll be fun, and everybody will have a different game that they want to represent. So if you're interested in doing that, we will post a sign up thing, which we have not done yet. absolutely amazing. We were going to do that, but we
We
will
were?
have a sign up.
Oh yeah, we were.
Yep.
We will.
For you
And
to list games that you'd be willing to represent in kind of a head-to-head kind of rep your favorite game. It doesn't even have to be what you consider the best game, but the idea is that we want someone or people that are really excited about their specific game and are willing to do battle versus someone else who's also really excited about the game and talk about the strengths and weaknesses of them. There's no way we're going to get every single game represented, but hopefully we get a good cross section of the best ones.
we can probably put that sign up both in our Discord server, which you can join, and maybe even expanding it to post it on Chief to get people signing up. We'll see about that. I'm not committing anything because I don't know if we were planning on doing that.
Yeah, probably. We're
We are now.
We're still
Scuffed.
in the low advertising phase of the podcast. So if you're here, glad you're here. But
Shout out to Jeff. Jeff
yeah,
is probably here.
in regards to ramping that up, probably in 2 or 3 weeks, we're definitely going to be pushing that out a lot more and getting new people involved. So yeah, we'll definitely be talking about that. Maybe not fully as broadly as Chief for this, but at least, people
Whatever.
that maybe aren't watchers yet. I can think of a few names that would probably be worthy game representatives that I'm sure they could find their favorite game and kind of talk about how amazing it was and debate it with other people.
So that's that. And if you have a cool idea for the name too, we are currently in search of one. So if you have an idea, please provide. So that was cool. That was a very fun
Are
segment.
we gonna do them? We haven't even talked about this actually. We might.
I don't know.
Um,
Depends
Maybe
on
I think
how many people we get.
yeah, if we get a bunch of people, we probably won't. But if we only have a few, then we'll probably fill out a little bit here, and then we'll either do some combo judging of who did a better argument between us or the chat or the both, maybe somewhere in between.
Cool.
Sick.
Neat.
So
awesome.
stuff that happened this weekend that we previewed last weekend. Chezy Champs happened. Biggest event, probably the most competitive event that we're going to see playing Infinite Recharge, almost definitely. So it's, in a way, kind of the pinnacle of the Infinite Recharge game and what it had to offer, what teams were able to accomplish, and it was definitely interesting. So
Yeah.
what did you guys think of that, of the event as a whole and the level of competition, how the game was played, broadly speaking?
I think there's been a bit of debate about I mean, I guess what I was about to get into is like more of a later thing actually, like in it. But like I thought it was really good. I enjoyed watching it. It was nice to have an event to watch again and see some decent level competition. See a lot of
I
swerves.
mean, there was a lot of really good teams at that event. I mean, definitely some of the top few teams in the world were there. And then there was also a lot of depth where you have teams that could have won a regional without, could have definitely won a regional as the first pick or captain. Like all the way down until the seventh alliance. Basically,
Yeah,
you
pretty
have
much.
all these teams would probably be favorites at a given regional.
Yep.
So just incredible depth as well. I mean, were, and enough to make some just pretty darn good alliances all the way across the board.
Yeah, there are definitely some teams that were like a little more on the struggle bus than we were hoping. I know for me, that was one of the like almost things that I had anticipated was like a really just like any team that had been remotely strong in the past was gonna like show up, and I got reality checked to the face a little bit on that one, so that was a little rough. Even like all the good teams at some point struggled. But
Maybe
like I
one
mean the
not.
okay, 1690 was I think the star of Chezy. I think that's
Mhm.
pretty much agreed on. But even like, you know, all the teams at some point had a bit of an oof, you could say, in layman's terms. But teams especially like 254 had a bit of a tough time. 3538, some of it like fair enough, like first event in for some people at all, for some people in like a year and a half. But it was interesting to see like some of these top teams who are known for their consistency struggle a little bit in that department. Specifically 254, but there were others as well. Like 1678 had a bit of a rough time and was able to like kind of pull it back together because it was a 2-day event. You had time to do that, but yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. Like it didn't feel like champs, nor would it, because it's not champs. But I like wanted it to be, you know.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
don't know if that.
I think it's somewhat hard to expect some of these big name teams to always be on their A game, especially for an off season that's in some cases their first time running their robot. Most of the teams that struggled, I think, were the teams that this was a first time event fielding their specific robot that they fielded. Even though some of the teams like 35-38, like Citrus, were very successful in the 2020 season, they had a completely new robot that
Yep.
was on the field. That you know, it's always hard when you're bringing a new robot and you never really battle test things 100% before a competition. You know.
I will say though, 2910 bringing their like IR at home robot, it was adorable. It was so little.
Yeah, but even that
I don't know.
robot, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure it played at an event, like a real event
Like
already.
I think it played a
Um.
well they
Oh, yeah. They played at Bordy Recharge a couple weeks ago,
yeah
2 weeks
like
ago.
it wasn't their 2020 competition robot. It was their like IR at home robot. Um, but it had done an off season, yes,
Yeah.
beforehand. But it was still adorable. Like I
I think
know that it wasn't a surprise that they brought it.
I think it was actually their third event with that robot. They had Bordy Recharge, and then I think they had another 1-day one at some point in there, but I'm not 100% sure about
Yeah, it's not listed on TBA, but it very well could have been. Because not everything makes it to TBA, especially off seasons.
that.
Yeah, I mean, so I think 2910 is another one that really impressed me. Their performance there, the Swerve. I mean, they're one of the most experienced Swerve teams, and at least in competition. And yeah, I mean, we can. I don't know what you're doing with the TBA, what you want to look at, but
I
there
just set
was
it up.
some. Okay. Um, the other thing that wasn't like it wasn't actually a big deal, but did change things a little bit, I guess. Like we would have seen 4RP in normal season anyways, eventually. But the elimination of the color wheel did make that a little bit more possible. I don't know how often that was given up, but that was a big thing where teams just had to hit like 50 power cells or something
Yeah,
to
Which is
there's no insights for
yeah.
it.
that's but yeah,
Unfortunate.
50 power cells for 4RP definitely changed the dynamic a little bit. But they kept the physical trench there. So you still had the benefit of being short. Like they didn't change that, which I think was the right thing to do, obviously. I would have liked them to have kept the color wheel physically on the field, and maybe just not make it required for the ranking point, but whatever. That was something that I think, like, I don't know, color wheel was a very, like, divisive topic amongst and that's what I was going to mention earlier. Like, it was pretty divisive in that regard of, like, some people loved it and some people absolutely hate it and want to see it dead and gone. So
Did
I
anybody
was
love it though? Like, I think
well
people tolerated it.
when
I
you
don't think
build
we
for it.
saw enough of it to love it.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
well, that's the
you
thing.
see
Is
it
like everyone's hating
fully
on it,
completed.
and you haven't, like, we didn't see any competitions where it was viable because it was like week 1 and 2. Everyone's hating on this poor color wheel, which did nothing wrong. I don't know. I understand that also it may have been better because maybe teams wouldn't have been good enough to do it, and this way at least it was viable to do the 4RP. I just don't know why they took it off the field completely. If it were me, I would have left it as an option to get points. But it
Well,
wasn't
when would
me.
they
No
have
one
had
asked me.
access to it? I guess after getting the right amount of power cells. I don't know.
Yeah, you could have kept
It's
it like exactly like before, where you can at least like spin it and get a few points, and instead, like, they didn't.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm
I
kind
think
of
just
either way.
a lot of these teams are using these IR at home robots that really didn't have color wheel capabilities because that was not part of IR at home.
Yeah, and neither was climbing, but most of the team showed up with a
That's
climber.
true.
I mean, the
That's
only
true.
yeah, like, I can't even think, like, who was the most notable team at this event that didn't climb?
I don't know.
Like, looking at the rankings, like, who's the first one on there without a climber? I genuinely don't know.
Maybe 80-33?
Even then, I thought they did.
I don't think
Like,
so.
44.99. We can't watch the video, which is the sad part.
44.99 did have a climber.
They did. Like, I'd say it,
1671 didn't for sure.
okay, yeah.
So.
So we're going down to, like, to be certain, the 23rd seed. Like, clearly, people were ready to tack on whatever appliance they needed.
Appliance?
You know what I
just
meant?
imagining
I'm
a
just
team
putting my
climbing with a
fridge.
washing machine.
Yeah.
Bro, there was one game that I judged for the game design challenge where, like, washing machines were an element of it.
That's amazing.
I know. Washing machine game 2022?
I approve.
I doubt it. But yeah,
I wish.
I understand your point about the wheel, and it's kind of sad that we never got to see it at a high level, really. I mean, the closest one we saw, I guess, is Texas.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Texas was just not on the level of Chezy champs.
Do we know if maybe, I know this is jumping the gun a little bit, but maybe the other California event? Or probably not. Have they just
I mean,
deleted
regardless,
I would
it's
imagine not, but there are also a lot fewer opportunities to do it.
yeah, exactly. Like, you just don't have that same level of stackedness.
Yeah. It's okay. They'll bring the color wheel back for 2022, and it will be part of the FRC game. Actually, well, they integrated it kind of into FTC, so I guess it gets some use.
Well,
Isn't that part
the
of the
teaser's
FTC
like
game?
the teaser's like indicating like color sorting, so screw the wheel, just color everything. They're just like,
There you go.
you ding dongs didn't like
You didn't
do color
respect.
properly,
You know
so we're
what?
gonna
You didn't
make you
respect
do it.
the wheel. You didn't respect the color wheel, and that's the problem. No one respected the poor color wheel, and it did nothing wrong. Okay? I just think it gets too much hate for doing nothing wrong.
I mean, yeah, it was fine. I don't know. It's not super exciting. It could, since it can only be like interacted with twice in a match. I don't like hate it personally.
Yeah.
It's just very low excitement.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the
It's not
thing.
that cool to watch. It
It's not,
definitely
but
takes at least the second section of the color wheel is cool, at least on the terms of like just difficulty or like the stuff what it takes
Design.
to do it. But either way, it's not spectator friendly necessarily. You can't really tell what's going on if you're in the stands, if it's on the right color or not. It's not really a lot. It's not very like hypey or whatever.
But
Hmm.
does first need to tailor to the spectators in every aspect of every game?
No, I'm just saying it makes it a little bit less interesting than it would have been if it was cooler to watch. Like
Yeah, what we need
that's
is a giant
definitely
vertical spinning color wheel. That's what would have been
Wheel
cool.
of Fortune game.
Yes,
Yeah,
a wheel of fortune.
it's just luck. You spin the wheel and land on whatever you get, but you can just spin the wheel as many times as you want. That's a terrible game, but you know.
No, it's each time you do something, you get one more try at spinning the wheel, you know.
Mm,
But to be fair, at least in this case, it meant that we did get a fair number of 4RP matches, which was exciting, including the first match of the event with 3476, 973, and 2910, facing off against 3859, 3374, and 1619. That was a 4RP match in the first match of the day. So there you go.
mhm. We definitely saw some high-powered scoring. We saw some triple climbs. We saw defense. The quality of it is
We can talk
less.
about that. Yeah. Quality of the defense. I
At
think
It's
least in the limbs,
hard.
the
the
quality
best
of the defense was not great. Of
the
course,
best defense was
against
when you didn't get a foul. Like that's kind of
yeah,
the level of defense that I think was played.
yeah. I mean, there was some all right defense, but defending some of these teams is just insanely difficult. Like the swerves, but with like good swerves and good drivers and small robots, those are all just hard to defend.
Yeah.
29-10 was not getting defended well. I mean, the most effective defense is mostly played, at least in the limbs, possibly probably by 44.99. But their strategy defense is just be the place, just be in one place basically where the other alliance wants to shoot from. It just makes like it didn't take a lot of driving skill. It's just go here, and
Be
the
in the way.
strategy there was to make be in the way. You don't have to chase them around. That's generally not a good plan for defense.
Yeah, you're not going to
Um,
catch them.
right? Like even if they're, I mean, even if they're not faster than you, it's generally not a good idea to chase someone around because if you're chasing someone, that means you're following them. If you're following them, you're not where they want to go. You're where they
You're not
were,
playing
right?
defense on them. You're just chasing
Yeah,
them.
right.
Yeah,
That doesn't. It's not tag. It's FRC, right?
this year. I'm thinking
Yeah.
so that is a big one to talk about is 44.99 with the addition of a cardboard like structure, we'll call it, onto their
Hmm.
robot on the side, which was very smart by the number one alliance. 100% credit to them. Um, worked really well for blocking small robots because obviously this year you can't just extend to whatever height, you know, like there's the limit. You can't extend outside when you're trying to actually climb. But because all the robots were so tiny that they were trying to defend, as long as they were in the right place, they were still able to at least be an irritant. Make people shoot from places they didn't want to have to shoot from.
Yeah.
There was, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, like the value from that wasn't the number of shots they blocked, which I think was probably one. It was sort of just getting in the heads of the opposing drivers. So either most of them like created more separation from 44.99 than necessarily needed to.
Yep.
So adding that made it so that opposing drivers were further back, farther away from the place where they necessarily would have preferred to shoot from, which also created more difficult shots for them to make. I mean, they probably could have gotten closer in most circumstances and been just fine. I'm not sure how much it would have helped if, like, yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm not sure. I think it helped more that you could see it and it was made out of cardboard than if it was just invisible.
Yep.
Because I don't think it would have blocked many shots. It wasn't particularly high, especially if you're shooting from the trench. But it got in the heads of other drivers, causing them to be farther away from their position, their preferred position.
Yeah, and then you can even at least lose the accuracy of inners versus outers, and
Mhm.
that's still a win in the number one's view. The thing that was also a little bit contentious over it was what the purpose of it was. They made it adamantly clear that it was just to block shots. I know the commentators at the event were very much discussing that it's blocking vision systems, and it's not. That was one of the things that when you look and see, okay, who said what and who was talking about it, it was a little controversial. Because some people interpreted it as limelight blocking, which is not legal.
Asterisk.
So kind of. The rule is weird, and because you're not supposed to block or interfere with vision systems, but is cardboard really interfering? It's not like you're putting vision tape on your robot, so like teams will look at it and like their limelight gets attached to it and carries on. So that's been a big point of contention that I don't really know enough about to say what I think on it, but I just know that there's been some. I expect in the 2022 rulebooks there will be something about it.
I doubt it.
Some
I mean,
I
at the end of the
doubt it.
day,
I think it'll be clarified what blocking vision systems
I
means.
highly doubt it.
Maybe, but at the end of the day, as long as the robot passes inspection, it's part of the robot.
But there's
right?
no inspection in off season.
Yeah, but
That
it
was
would
the in the
it would have
Chezy
passed
rules.
inspection.
It
in
probably,
the thing.
yeah, in real life it would have had to, but there was no inspection at Chezy.
Right. I mean, as long as it's part of the robot, which it was,
Yeah.
it's not, at least philosophically, any different than just having a taller robot that is there. And like, you wouldn't complain if like a main structure of a robot with blocking vision.
Yeah.
I think it has to be treated the same way as that. Like,
Yeah.
it is a purpose of the robot, and it serves a purpose. And the purpose is not 100% obviously to block vision. I don't think it was to block
No,
vision
and
at all.
but the
Like,
commentators were constantly referring to it as purposely blocking vision, and that was the
yeah,
problem.
I mean,
which I think
Because
is, I don't know. I
Go
think
ahead.
it's
it's kind of
generally
whatever.
unfair to accuse a team of like doing something that would be considered non-gracious professional if there's a perfectly fine gracious professional reason why they would be doing it, and
But
no
that's
real evidence to suggest that they were being on GP. It's, I don't know, not
well, that's I'm not saying that
yeah.
they were. I'm saying that it shouldn't have been constantly referred to on the broadcast.
I think
like
it's
that.
fine.
Right.
I think it's perfectly fine. I don't see anything wrong with having a tall object blocking vision.
I don't see it as a problem either, but when you're using terms like camera defense,
Yeah, I think
which are
camera
one of
defense like that is perfectly fine. I have no
it's
issue with it. Like like morally.
R8 has a problem with it.
No, it doesn't exactly say that.
Any devices or decorations specifically intended to jam or interfere with the remote sensing capabilities of another robot, including vision systems, is the rule.
Not specifically designed for that. It's cardboard.
Yes,
I mean,
it's not. I agree with
I don't
you,
know.
but then why were they constantly referring to it as being designed to destroy limelight vision as opposed to actually block shots?
I just
That's
Because
think they
that's
why.
didn't
his
know what they're talking
primary
about.
thing that it was doing.
Was it? What was it actually doing? We've just discussed that
Most
it was really
effective
just
thing that it
getting
was doing. But like, I
getting
don't
the
care.
heads. Well,
I don't know. It could have been. I don't know.
I'm just like, I think it was a brilliant idea. Don't get me wrong. I don't have a problem with them putting it on. I just have a problem with the way that it was handled on stream. That's all. I think it was smart, but that for me that was kind of weird, was hearing them talk about it, where it was talk about it in the sense that it was not designed for. Like, it was designed to get in the heads of people. Talk about it like that.
I don't think it was designed to do that either. I think it was designed to block shots.
Okay. Yeah, well.
It didn't do that, but it did some other things.
Yeah. It's hard to block shots too when there's like a height limit, but
Right.
anyways, I digress. I guess that's my side tangent on 44.99, who still, they were probably the best defense of the event. There was a lot of disappointing defense involving lots of fouls. Which again could just be lack of familiarity of the game. It's been ages since anybody
100%
really
is.
played.
There's no way it isn't. Like,
Because some of them
people
were
just don't know
obvious,
the
some
rules,
of them
and
were not.
it's the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little surprising for so few people, or so many people, to not understand like G10 and G11 at Chezy Champs. But like, I don't know, there were much more G10 and G11 penalties at Chezy Champs, or I think there were more on a
Yeah.
per match basis at Chezy Champs than there were at the 1-day events that I was at over the last couple of weeks.
Luckily, there weren't too many of them where it impacted the outcome of the match, which was good. Like, finals wasn't decided by fouls. I don't think any of the semis matches were either, or even quarters. I don't remember any of them being close enough for fouls to be the problem. But which is good, but it definitely serves as an actual reminder, like, hey, when the next season comes around, like, read your rules, know your rules.
Yeah,
And
knowing the rules are so important, and it's just a step that is skipped by too many people. I mean, usually in a regular season, week 1, there's lots of teams don't know the rules, and as the game progresses, more and more teams understand the rules. But I mean, yeah, a lot of these teams hadn't competed at an event for, I mean, some cases 2 years or a year and a half.
it is my understanding that the refs were told to be a little lenient because of that. So, like, if things were egregious, they were called, but like the slight violations that would normally get called by the letter of the law, weren't so much, which is good. I think that's the right attitude to take, especially at an off season, as long as it's consistent among the referees, which is always a tricky thing to do. But
I disagree. I
what?
generally don't think you should be lenient with penalties. I think you should just follow the way that it's written. If you say you're going
Yeah,
to
well,
enforce penalties,
it's the
you
benefit
enforce
of the doubt
penalties.
that you really need to follow, and I think they were just a little bit
Oh,
more on that. Not
sure,
like,
benefit of the doubt. If you don't see it happen, don't call it. But
or if you're not certain if it was a foul, because that's a big one.
right.
Is like, did I really see them cross over into that zone? Like, that's a, especially because like refs do get better at calling stuff the more they do stuff.
It's also just way easier to be consistent if you're following the rules that are written down.
Yeah.
Assuming the rules are clear.
Well defined, which they're not strictly well defined, but
Yeah.
they're generally defined well enough, at least, especially in G10 and G11, are defined pretty well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
There are some, like, the big ones that are hard this year to call are, which I didn't see called a lot, which I think probably need to be called more, was holding more than 5 balls at a time. I know there was.
Yeah.
That's like so hard though.
It's so hard, but it's like
it's really hard when you're at
GA
a
could
really
tell when 6 shots. There was times I'd listen where like
Mhm.
the GA would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like counting the balls going out of the robot. It's like, okay, well, clearly if you're watching, not all of them are shooting them fast enough that you just see a streak of yellow come out of a robot.
Right. I mean, it's a lot harder when there are more game elements being scored at an event such as Champs, right? And like, if there's a lot of stuff going on, it's hard. It's really, I mean, it's hard to tell that. And another thing is that's a relatively small foul.
Yeah, it's only 3 points per ball, which is
it's 3
good.
points per ball, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like you can't score said ball, right?
Right. That's the purpose of it. It's, I mean, it wouldn't. I mean, it swings very few matches unless it's like some teams obviously just doing it over and over again, in which case there's other whatchamacallits. But yeah, I mean, it's a penalty that I think would have been called more, especially after that game update, right before the season got terminated. Or not game update, but statement or whatever.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, it's hard to be a ref,
It
so
is.
occasionally it's
Not,
okay
I can
for
guarantee
mistakes
it's
to be
not easy
made.
for the drivers either. Like,
Yeah.
Oh no,
a
it's
ball
it's
gets
it's
jammed
even
in your
harder
robot,
for
and
the
the human
drivers
player
to
loads
tell than it is the ref.
five balls in because that's what you do every other time. Like, it's
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's so easy
Plus,
to accidentally do that.
yeah, and the angles are just worse, right?
Yeah.
Especially at the loader station. It's if
Yeah.
you're
If
on
the
that like
robot's like,
far side robot like thing,
yeah.
it's really hard to tell what's happening.
And realistically, the robot that's shooting the power cells is probably right in front of one of the referees too. So like, you can see it. I think teams that like, and I'm not saying this like in any official capacity as someone who's refed events before, but like, it's just it's just tricky. It's that's what it is, and like there are some ones that are obvious, like teams that do it, and then realistically, if you see a team that's shooting 6 balls out every time and it's egregious, the head ref will probably go talk to the team about it and be like,
I don't
"Yo,
think that was happening at this
knock
event,
it off." I
but
don't think that was
No,
happening here either, but
I mean I don't. Yeah,
I don't know. Some teams definitely designed robots. I mean, there were some teams here who couldn't hold more than 3 balls at a time because they were using their IR at home robots anyways.
I don't know about that. But
Or no,
yes,
4. 4 was. I know there were a few robots that could only hold 4.
who?
I know Chun mentioned it. 2910 could only have 4, I
No.
no,
think?
they could
No.
definitely hold 5, and I think there was a couple times where they shot 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not intentionally, I
No,
don't think,
you literally
right?
just
But
pick up whatever balls are in front of you. Like,
Yeah,
you just
yeah,
go.
it's so easy to screw that up by accident.
Yeah. Yeah.
hmm which I guess is one of the reasons I am a firm believer that in games the rules should be you can have one ball or you can have as many as you want. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that is the best way to design game element caps is to have a cap of 1 or no cap at all.
Yeah.
Because anything else is just too hard to like figure out
Mhm.
what's happening, and have holding as many as you want adds another like design element. It adds another consideration,
Yeah. Yeah, think Fuel in 2017, like
right?
holding as many as you wanted.
If you
You'd
want
see
to
teams that
focus.
This
yeah,
game
focus
could
on
be
your shooter.
interesting as unlimited. Not that it wasn't already interesting, but would have been, I think, even better without a cap on it. To be honest,
hmm
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only like problem with that is potential ball starvation strats,
starvation
right?
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which are not great for games, generally speaking, because
Yeah,
they
because in
slow down
theory,
pace of play.
yeah, you either need an like infinite amount. Like for example, fuel, there was so much fuel that it didn't matter because
hmm
realistically, there's no way that all of that was getting taken. And I think that's the best example I can think of. Whereas like we see starvation come into play in like if this game was like that, it would have been a big problem. Because I think it would have been
Yeah,
pretty
I don't
easy.
think you would have been able to starve enough, to be honest.
yeah. I
Are you
mean,
kidding?
because
Teams would have
we
just
had
built like like one team would have decided that that's how they were gonna win each match, and they would have
I
just
mean,
built like a giant box to store all the balls. Like
yeah, I mean, but you have to have good shooting lines for that to be an effective strategy. And if you're shooting, I don't know,
people
I
build
collect the
stupid robots, Evan.
yeah. I don't know how terrible it would be, but I don't necessarily think it would have been great for the game. I'm not sure. Maybe add 10 more balls to the field's circulation and it's fine. Maybe I don't know.
Maybe I don't know how many like if it was unlimited, how many balls each team would have ended up being able to hold.
Yeah, I mean, we
Maybe
saw like 15 on
on the simulator.
XOC,
Yeah,
right? And the physics of holding balls and that aren't, I mean, not perfect, but it's close enough that I think 15 would have definitely been reasonable. If you have something like the giant hopper from 2017, you could hold that many.
yeah.
I don't know.
Anyways,
It's just a multi-stage spindexer that just keeps going up.
those
Yeah,
guys.
a spindexer with infinite slots. It's like the infinite hotel, but with a spindexer.
We've kind of sidetracked a
Or-
little bit here from talking about
Luckily, it's
Chezy,
our podcast, and we can do whatever we want.
and I want to
It's
be more on
Brennan's
track.
channel. He can turn it off.
True.
So
This is the robot.
yeah, let's actually talk about the teams. We've been in for about an hour here, and we haven't talked about
We
the
have?
teams.
45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yikes. Sorry.
Uh, who was the biggest surprise in a good way of this event?
The rookies? I'm gonna go with the rookies.
It's true. The rookies were really good.
Both the rookies performed well and were arguably in the top half of teams, or at least
One of them even
close.
captained the alliance. Both of them were in Alums, which was great.
Mm-hmm.
Love to see that. I mean, I was. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, the rookies performed well. They were not. I don't know. I don't know much other than just they look good. They look like they have potential.
Yeah, I think they'll do quite well. Especially like again when you have a rookie team coming from Georgia, like that's some serious stuff when they make it all the way across the country for an off-season event. I think both of them have a good future ahead of them, which is always good to see. I was quite impressed. Like we knew that Orbit was going to be good. I don't think we knew they were going to be that
That's what
good.
I was gonna say. 1690 was for sure my most surprising team. I didn't think that they would go undefeated through the entire event. Like,
No, they were so good.
yeah, they
Yeah.
were just on another level compared to everybody else. Did they ever have to play against 973? I don't remember.
Let me.
I
They
think they did, if my memory holds, but I think
no.
Yeah, they did.
Yes,
no, they
yes, they
didn't.
did.
Yeah,
They beat
We
they
had
beat
but wasn't
973.
971.
yeah, I was gonna say, didn't they have like a strong alliance partner?
Yeah, 36-47. Oh, that one
And
they won on fouls.
6328.
They won on fouls. Oof.
Yeah, that match is available on
That is one of two
video.
matches available to watch.
Yeah,
We'll have it in the background. But yeah, I mean, for me, they were just the most surprising team. They're kind of not great closers oftentimes with their local events, and just seeing them come here and just absolutely dominate, and like going into this match, like, we knew that they were good. I didn't expect them to win here.
And I mean, I didn't expect them to go undefeated. Like when we saw them come out the gate, their first match, like they were very clearly like they were on the ball.
Yeah,
But I mean
that
here,
part didn't surprise me, but it's more just the fact that they were so consistent. Like, one of the things that really separated them was, well, in part their autonomous, as you can see here, basically always worked. I think there's only one time where it didn't get the final shots off, where a robot
they got
blocked
hit,
them.
didn't they? Yeah, they
Yeah,
got
but
interfered with.
they were just so consistent. They had amazing inner percentages.
Yep.
Like, it was just so good.
Yeah. And I think, like, I in hindsight, shouldn't be surprised because they rank 1 and won both of their other off seasons in Israel, but it's really good seeing them bring that competitive quality over to North America, where they basically showed up every other team that was there, in my opinion.
yeah. I mean, not to disrespect Israel or anything, but this is a stronger event than any of the Israeli events, right?
Exactly. Well, it's
Like,
just deeper. It's
yeah.
I mean, Chezy in general is often it's like the IRI of the West, and
Yeah, I mean,
so
not quite
not
there.
quite
It
the same
definitely doesn't
level,
have
but
the depth, but it has the top. were at
Yep.
the top.
And they just decided they were gonna like take the top and just like surpass. They were just over top of the top.
Yeah, I mean they're the best team there. I
Yeah.
don't think a lot of people argue on that. Like their consistency was amazing. They were the shooting is amazing. I don't know. There weren't. They were so clearly an excellent like. It's such a strong event. It takes a lot to seem like the obviously
Clear
best
best.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And they did, I think what helped them a lot is having like 6 off-season events before this, having a lot more time to work on their
2, but
robot
okay.
a lot than a lot of other teams. I think it was more than 2.
They had
Okay.
well regular season events as well, right? So
Yes.
They had
Oh
a
yeah,
regular
that's
season event.
and this
true.
I'm pretty
robot
sure
was
they
like
had a
driving, like it's been driving
And
for a
they
long
did
time.
they won their actual 2020 event as well. They were undefeated at their actual event as well.
yeah, this was their 6th event with this robot total.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you finding that number?
I'm looking at the blue lines. So it
Oh
could have been
right,
more.
because they had 2 before, right? I forgot that they had other ones before in March.
Yeah. So for a lot of these teams, it's like their first or second, or I mean, in some
Yeah,
cases even like
here comes
third, but
1690
event.
with like
Right. So it's like we're seeing a team that's had 2 years working the robot against a lot of teams that didn't have access to a shop for a
But at the same
year and
time,
a
they were
half.
good out
Like,
of the gate too. Like week 2, they
oh
were or
yeah,
week
for
1.
sure, they were really good then. But I'm saying they definitely like if you gave all these other teams an extra year and 4 practice events,
Yeah,
they
that's true.
they would have been at least closer, and they might not have been the best team. Like 254 here didn't have the access
Yep.
to the robot for most of the pandemic, right?
Yeah, and it
And
showed unfortunately for them.
well, I mean, it showed as in they weren't the best team
Yeah,
there, like
I
they
mean they
necessarily
weren't the proofs
usually
that
would
we
be.
know.
But they would have won their regional if that was a week
Yeah.
1 competition
Oh
easily,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I mean, it was an imperfect robot, which the thing about 254 is we don't expect imperfect robots from them.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was still, if you saw that at a week 1 event, you
You'd be like,
wouldn't be
oh man.
disappointed.
Yeah.
Be like,
yeah,
poofs, they're really
yeah.
good
Because
again,
they still
right?
had a very good autonomous as well.
And for
They have
them,
That
really
was
good
really good.
everything.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the
I mean,
only
they had a
like
little bit of consistency issues, but
yeah,
that's expected from a team that has had very little access for the robot.
exactly. I don't know. Maybe I feel like I'm just hating on everyone too much, but
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
so
yeah,
absolutely don't,
It's kind
absolutely
of
don't
a
panic about 254,
yeah. It's kind of a
right?
different thing though. I think that people are maybe not in the mindset for is just like people have to remember that this is a weird off season, you know,
Mm-hmm.
where these robots aren't tried and true through
yeah,
like 3, 4 events and plus champs. And
yeah,
oftentimes
Mm-hmm.
these robots are also going through like a deep run in champs too, right?
yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
these
And
robots are
drivers as well.
not
Like
at
probably.
yeah, exactly. And even
Yeah,
the
that is
driver
a big thing.
experience is
Yeah.
going to be
Be-
lower over on
a
average for
lot of
sure.
a lot of
Yeah.
graduated, there's less
Mm-hmm.
time on like all things literally I think that's the thing is 1690 having that experience made everyone else look a little bit worse even though individually they were still doing incredibly well given their circumstances. I think that's a good point that you bring up that they've had like 6 events. But
Yeah.
I mean, look at them go. Look at that robot.
I mean, yeah, Orbit was amazing. Like,
Yeah.
just no matter how much we say, oh, they had this advantage, they had that advantage.
Like doesn't matter. They were still freaking
Even if
amazing. Like
every team had that advantage, this robot would be good enough to compete. I think
Yeah.
maybe not be
absolutely.
the best one there, maybe not be the second best one there, but they'd be top 5. I'm confident, right?
Yeah.
It's just
That's
yeah,
pretty cool.
they showed they showed up. They really did.
Which
So I
is
guess we
good
could
Maybe
because
the strongest non North American robot ever.
I could
I don't think that's a particularly bold claim either, to
Yeah.
be honest.
yeah, I could get behind that for sure.
I
Um
mean, Yeah.
I'd be interested to see some of the other, like, because it sounds like Israel has had some like a lot of field time available. I don't know, like, who the
I mean,
other,
if you
like, the
haven't
other.
seen the other teams, they're also very good. Yeah, but just
Exactly, exactly.
the depth of Chezy has just been larger.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think like what other non-North American teams would have potential claim to that. I mean, if we're thinking about other like top non-NA teams, we're thinking. I mean, 1690 is probably the first one, but there's also some other good Israeli teams with
Wingus
1577,
and Dingus.
1574, 3339. Wingus and Dingus, they definitely have been good the last couple of years. Barker, Redbacks.
Barker, yeah.
Yeah.
Could argue their 2017 bot for that. I mean, there's I guess Spice Gears and Rembrandts if we're going up to Europe, but they're not as like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the only thing I could
Integra.
really
I don't know if Integra's built any crazy robots.
I mean, they have been
not
built
that
really
good.
good
The
robots,
2018
but
bot was pretty darn good. Yeah,
I don't think
but
any non-North American team has really been considered like top 5, let alone
yeah, no.
I don't
possible
think.
best robot.
Yeah.
But once again, this is a really hard year to compare this with, right? Just
Yeah.
because of how inconsistent everything has been. If like,
I
I
think
don't know,
this year is
are you?
going to be big for Israel, though, because they've had that extra year on most of the world. I think this is going to be a big year for Israel because they've had 4 off seasons in.
I
That's
mean,
in a
yeah.
small district. I think that's pretty big, and they've had a lot more access than we have over here.
We'll see how that extra year with this robot translates to the next robot, because that's not necessarily something that will translate, but it definitely could. Like,
No.
I mean, you'll have more
And it's like
experience with.
training and familiarity and driver experience. Like, I think in
Yeah,
general,
I think they'll be
because
better out of the gate. But I don't necessarily know if that'll stand up
Zane,
at Worlds.
I don't know.
So
I
we will
think
see.
having the extra year. I mean, by Worlds maybe not, but like I don't know. I think it's going to be a big year for Israel in general on the world stage. I just have a
Could
feeling.
be. Definitely could be.
Extra time to train your
Bold
students and stuff.
predictions. Speaking
Is
of
it?
predictions
Bold
and
predictions.
Miss Bold predictions and her
Yeah.
predictions.
My predictions were great. Shut up.
Hmm.
You know what?
So yeah, if we go back to our predictions for last week,
You know what? We don't need to do this part. We can skip
Yep.
over this part.
Too late.
I
You
think we
said
do
you were
need to do this
never
part again.
wrong.
I wasn't wrong. You're just reading the alliance sheet wrong. Very clearly. Very clearly, you've used inspect element to gaslight me into what actually happened. Very clearly.
Oh wow, those accusations there.
Accusations are being thrown.
Well, the predictions for last week, we'll go over them. For winning alliance, both Brennan and I said 973 and 254, and Taegen said 254 and 1678. So Brennan and I each got 1 correct. And for finalist alliance, Brennan said 1690 and 2910. I said 1690 and 4414, and Taegen said 5460 and 3538. Brennan and I both had both our teams in the finalist alliance make the finals, and one of them win the event. So I think Brennan and I tied that prediction. And Taegen didn't.
I will note that 3 of my 4 teams did make semis. They just didn't make it into finals.
Yeah, 4 of both of our 4 teams.
You know what? I didn't ask for your opinion on this.
I don't know.
It's
You
not
said
my
you were
fault.
always right.
35-38 faced off against 1690 in the first round.
Yeah,
They would have
but
also made semis.
no. If they were better, they wouldn't have been on the 8th alliance.
And if yeah, well, no.
Good job. Great comeback. Absolutely destroyed.
All right.
Realistically,
Good job,
it's
Evan.
not.
thank
Oh,
you
shut
for
up.
predicting, reasonably.
Mm,
Okay, tell me any other year that my prediction was not reasonable.
what?
Try to say
Well,
that my
any year.
I
prediction was not
mean,
Uh,
very cool. Before the teams existed, I don't know. Like,
Oh,
this is
like
the only
last
year
year.
that matters, Taegen.
Yeah, but okay, but my prediction was
I picked
reasonable to make at
71
the
in
time.
2002. Checkmate.
All right.
It's like
He
Okay,
was
I guess.
reasonable at the time. I didn't
Yeah, I
think
mean,
Orbit would be as good as they were, okay?
I don't think any of us did.
I mean, to be fair, neither did we.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
We
I
thought
thought
they would be a little bit
35-38
better.
would be better than they were.
Yeah, they did have struggles with their previous offseason competition
Mhm.
by not being there for half of it.
Yeah, but they were there this time.
Yes, they did show up, and they had an all right robot.
And they improved. They win my they improved a lot during the event. So I will take that as
Just
a
like
personal
you,
win. And
we'll give you the most improved award.
yeah, I'd like
0
half
Right,
a point
yep.
for
points
that,
on
please.
the prediction, but we'll give you the most improved award.
Can I have half a point? I deserve half
You can
a
have
point.
You can have half of a pity point,
I'll take it. I'll take it.
which are not redeemable for real points. It's like Monopoly money.
Shut up. Okay, so sleeper picks. Brennan's sleeper picks were not sleeping at all. They were
I
lightly.
agree.
They were lightly dozing picks, and as such, I think they should be ineligible for sleeper pick points.
They were at I mean, I don't know. I don't think they did
I don't think
much
either
better
of them
than
did
how they
better
were thought
than
to do.
what they should have
Like, I mean,
done.
I think if they combine to win the finals or even make finals, that's definitely good. The sleeper
I
because you weren't.
agree.
That's not what was expected.
That's
One
But
of
that's
them,
sort of what I was
semifinals and
saying.
quarterfinals is what was expected, I think, from them.
Agreed.
and
So I think they did approximately as expected.
they did not sleep. They lightly napped.
846.
Won the
think all-
event.
Not
They
a
won
sleeper
the
pick.
They
event.
were
I'm sorry.
They were the
They
third pick of the first alliance.
they
They
won
played
the
in
event,
one elims match,
and they won the
and then
match.
it was an elims match they would have won if they literally didn't bring the robot to the field.
But they did, and that's what matters here.
All right, they did such a good job. They did not
They even
throw the
climbed.
match actively.
They climbed.
All right,
That's
so
true.
Tagen's team didn't actively throw an elims match.
And they climbed.
Cool.
The
Which is-
definition of sleeper though is that they do way better than they expected. I don't think any of us
better
would have
than-
been shocked to see 846 in this position. So, next.
2135 is my pick.
Yeah.
21-35.
I think that one wins, even though they
No,
didn't
I don't
do
think any of us win.
extremely
I don't
well.
think any of us had good picks.
I don't know. I'm gonna
Also,
make an argument that if
you can also
look at
see
the
like Red Alliance just
literally
destroyed
no.
every time. It's like
Mhm.
there was no upsets. There's no.
The closest match, which was the closest? Not the 310 to
Finals.
92.
It was quarters 4
No,
match 2.
it's quarters 4
14
match.
points.
Yeah, quarter 4 match 2.
Oh yeah.
Where 114 got subbed in
Mm-hmm.
Sleeper
for
pick.
54. You know what?
I don't know. If anyone gets a point, I think it should be me because at least 2135 did okay. and
21-35
wasn't
played
necessarily-
one more match in elims than 846 did.
Yeah, but at least they were like picked to play in elims.
Wait a second.
Intentionally
Alliance
a backup. And
yeah,
at
but
least
you know what? When 846
they
played,
actually didn't. Like what?
when 846 played, they climbed.
Mm-hmm.
When 21-35 played, I screwed up what I was clicking on. I just need to.
Okay, fine. No points. Nobody
no
had
point.
a great sleeper.
I agree.
It's
I
tragic.
don't think anybody feels like their pick was particularly well.
I feel like 846 deserves some credit for winning the event.
No,
Not a lot,
they get
but
they get a blue banner and a trophy, and that's
can I get
all they get.
Can I round out my pity point?
No,
Can I get like my full pity point?
no,
that is
because
not
if you have too many
redeemable?
pity points, you don't get any more pity.
Oh,
Because you have enough pity points, you don't deserve any additional
I
pity.
only have
No.
half.
No, your picks were your pick. I mean, they got picked. If they were the last ranked team at the event, you could have gotten half the pity point.
Okay, that's fair.
But
That
no,
was
pity points are
1072.
for.
Who did get
Yeah, you
picked?
didn't. They did, and they played in.
They did their
Alum's,
job when they needed
maybe.
to.
did.
Yeah, they did.
You can't really knock 846, but obviously the
Actually, they
alliance
no
wanted to.
no 1072. Please note that they actually got subbed out for all of their matches except for the first one.
Yes, but
But they got
I
picked.
don't know. It doesn't
And
matter. Nobody had a good sleeper pick. Now, the team that I think was who do people
who is
think
the actual
would have been the
sleeper?
best sleeper pick? I mean, I guess we didn't. I think we just went over that. I talked about the rookies. Brennan talked about Orbit.
Yeah,
2102 did better than I think anyone expected.
They did
ranking
well.
wise, yeah.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, they ranked well.
Kind of a disappointing quarters performance, though, I'd say.
I think
Yeah.
for a long time they were
Only-
up at the top of the rankings, which I don't know if they belonged there.
There was definitely
but-
luck involved, but not purely.
Yeah,
No.
it's like it's a thing where sure you get lucky, but at the same time, it's so easy to mess up those lucky situations where you just play
Yeah.
badly.
Mhm.
So you got to
Yeah.
give them
Yeah.
full credit for what they were doing.
Yeah, and they picked I think probably the best I guess that was generally like picking at least at this event was pretty solid. I was
Mhm.
pretty impressed with most of these picks.
Yeah,
If you can scroll back up, Bren, just so we can see the alliances. Like all of these are totally reasonable in my opinion. Some of the
Except for
second picks
one.
maybe. Except for one, is that what you're about to say?
I did say that.
What were you, which one are you saying?
I have no idea. I just saw it.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, he's just like throwing
I
spice.
mean, I would have. They're not all of them are not the picks that I believe I would have made, but I also didn't have access to scouting data.
And they're
I
all
watched
reasonable. Like
not maybe a third of the qual match.
yeah, they
because
may
I
not have
was-
been, they may not be the perfect picks, but none of them are like out of left field, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, right. There's no Tesla
There's no
Division
Tesla
2019
2019s.
memes. Yeah.
Yeah. No Tesla memes today. So
Homie.
that's Chezy. Congratulations to that first alliance for your win. 1690, 973, 4499, and 846. Thumbs up. You do not need pity points. You can get
They have a
actual.
trophy. You don't get pity points.
Well,
You have
they
an
scored
actual
320 points actually in their final match.
trophy. Yeah,
Haha.
those don't. No.
You can take those home with
Alright.
you.
Yep. What is next on our agenda?
Oh, wait, before we go, I feel like 4414 didn't get enough credit for captaining that second alliance.
Good job.
Good job, them.
They did rank higher. They were the highest ranked small bot. So
Small bots, OP! I love small
Yeah,
bots.
actually, that's the pick that was wrong. They should have picked 649.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was it. We needed small
was
bot
wrong.
alliance. Oh well. So we've got a few options for things we can dive into for our next topic. I don't know how we're doing on time, so Brennan, maybe
Been
if
an
you want
hour.
to.
That's
It's
how we're
been
doing.
an
let's talk
hour.
about Beach Blitz. Beach Blitz.
Beach
The
Blitz.
California thing.
California. This is turning into a California commentary podcast.
Yeah,
Well,
we
it's
just
because they have the events.
talk about that.
Actually, well, okay. Not all of these teams are from California.
Yeah, there are a
So
couple out of state. Hawaiian Kids, Taters. Anybody else that's not from
no,
California?
but two
Okay.
is a couple.
Yeah, and I'm not.
So pretty
Yeah.
good. And again, looking like a relatively competitive event, which should be a lot of fun to watch. Notable teams.
Yeah.
Speaking of 4414,
Yeah,
is
they
one of the
just.
big notable teams here.
Mm-hmm.
Code Orange
That
and
definitely more than
Narwhals.
that. Yep.
Millennium Falcons.
3309 Taters.
Yeah.
696. 359. Yeah.
and some other teams that performed well in 2020 as well.
And what Chezy taught us is that like anyone can just pop off.
Did it teach us that?
Well, it taught us that rookies can surprise us, so I'm gonna take
Yeah.
that logic and apply it to everybody.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Especially like newer teams like 7000s. And we have one rookie
Right.
too coming in from Los Angeles, California, who has done an off season this year, so it will not be their first event. They actually did an event too in 2020, so I guess it's not like they're not a rookie, but they're a youth. They're in their youth.
Mm-hmm. So, do we want to just talk more about this, or do we want to just jump into predictions for this?
Well, I mean, we can.
I want to
try
hear
and
what
jump.
the never wrong predictor has to say about this
Mhm.
event.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
and
the
then I'll
never
make
wrong
my
predictor.
predictions. Yes.
Well, hear me out here. I predict that there will be 2 teams winning. I mean, three teams
Wow,
winning.
she's already wrong.
2 teams winning. There will be 3 teams on the winning alliance, possibly 4, but I think this is only a 3-team thing actually, based on the team count.
No idea.
Same structure. I guess if you need time to think about it, that's fine.
That's what I'm stalling for, Brennan. Thank you for picking up on that.
Congratulations. Cobb, are you do you want to bite the bullet?
Oh, okay, sure. So the winning alliance, I'm going to make the incredibly bold prediction that 44-14 is going to win. And
Just
then
them. No one else.
I'm going to make an actually mildly bold-ish prediction
Yeah.
that their alliance partner will be 4201,
Ooh,
and they will beat 3647 and 6560 in finals.
that is bold.
Do you want to talk to us about 6560 and why you think they're going to make finals?
Yes, they're really good.
Wow, thank you for that in-depth description.
They performed, I mean, 4201 and 6560 both had very strong showings at their 2020 event. So 2020, I'm gonna have 4201 first. 4201 went undefeated at the Los Angeles Regional. They went 17-0-0. They have the highest OPR of any team attending this event, and they were dominated with 987 in elims. So it's been a while since they've played. I think they'll be good. They were really good in their actual event in 2020. 6560, less dominant, but they were also at a better event. They went
They were at
to
LA
Los Angeles
North.
North.
Yep.
And they managed to take 1678 and 973 to 3 matches in finals. They were, I believe, like if you look at OPR, they were basically tied with 1678 and 4414 at that event. I mean, 973 was clearly the best team there, but 6560 was at the same level or a close level to those two teams at that event. So those are my picks. Those two teams are teams that were really, really good in 2020. We'll see how it translates a year and a half later. But it could, and they could just, it's possible. They perform excellent and very strongly. So those are my picks.
Taegen,
Fair
have you
enough.
stalled long enough?
Nope, go ahead. I've got a few options now, and I'm having a hard time narrowing them down. But I guess I'll say 4414, gonna take the win. Partnered with, I'm gonna say 5199, Robot Dolphins from Outer Space. Yeah, they lost to 4414 in their other off season. Robot Dolphins, they're pretty solid as far as teams go. They also performed quite well in their group at the IR at Home Challenge, including finishing second in the Argon group. Argon?
Argon.
Only to
I was
I
gonna
don't know.
make a chemistry pun, but all the good ones are gone.
No.
Okay. No, no, declined. So yeah, I think it's gonna be 44-14 and 51-99. And they are going to beat out the alliance of 36-47 and um they are going to beat out, give me just a second here. I'll say 42-01 as well.
Uh-oh. Taegen picked 3 of the 4 same teams as me. That means I can get at most 1 point.
Okay, well, it could be if you get the matchup though better,
Well,
like the pairings.
Mm-hmm.
what did yeah, I added Robot Dolphins in as well. I assume we're not yeah. So that's that. Those are my teams.
I am going
Brennan,
to
have you
say,
stalled?
yeah, no, I don't need to stall at all.
Okay.
I just know stuff.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be 44-14, and another
Yes.
team that you haven't picked that for some reason you've forgotten about, 36-47, Millennium Falcons.
I said
Literally,
36.
both of us picked them.
Oh, well, maybe I wasn't paying attention. The finalists, though.
Well, we put them
Yeah.
as finalists, yes,
They're
but
gonna
like
win.
both of us. Okay. Sure.
And we'll go with. Oh, do I want to
Oh,
be
look.
spicy? Yeah. We're gonna go with Hawaiian Kids and Code Orange as the finalists.
Interesting picks. Fair picks. Interesting picks.
All right.
Cool.
And sleeper
And
picks.
sleepers. Um,
Taegen, sleeper pick.
yeah,
Go.
sleeper pick. Okay. I have to look at
Quickly.
the team list again. I
Go.
have to look at
Now.
the team list again. I closed it. I'm sorry. Aluminum Narwhal. Actually, no, that's not really sleeper either. They're good.
I mean, they did not have a good 2020.
That's true. Let's say they turn it around. 31-28. They're gonna bring it around.
All right. I guess I'm curious. What counts as a sleeper pick? How?
Somebody who outperforms what they are expected to do.
So like
But what are they
31-28,
expected?
like I think I'll be happy if they make semis.
All right.
As like not a backup robot. Although that would be fine too, IMO, but whatever.
Sleeper pick. Can I pick 65-60? Does that count? Would that be a sleeper
Yeah?
pick?
I
If
mean,
they
I
win,
don't.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they'll win. That's the thing.
Well, then I guess it doesn't count as a sleeper pick.
All right. Fine. Team sleeper pick.
Oh, it's not so easy now, is it?
58-18.
Yeah? And how well do you think
That's.
they're gonna do?
I think they'll also make semifinals. I don't know.
Let's do it. Let's put 31-28 and 58-18 on the same alliance. Totally plausible, and they make semis together.
All right. That's not a very spicy sleeper pick, but it could be less spicy, I guess. Brennan.
uh, that is a fantastic question. I
Tick-tock.
believe in 42-76.
All right. I was thinking about
Seeding well, making it to semis, putting up a fight against some people. Assuming it's not the #1 seed. Who will just pair up and go undefeated. 44-14 and 36-47.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very similar to Chezy in that regard. I think we're going to see a lot of just like blowouts. But this is an event where there's definitely some teams that could just kind of seed out of nowhere. This is a 1-day event? No, it's a 2-day event.
2-day. But I think we should make one more super important prediction.
Yes.
Who do people think will rank 17th?
17th?
17th.
Sure. Like that's smack in the middle, right?
No. That would be
36.
36 is
18th
not.
or 9th.
18th.
Seven-
Okay, can we do 18th for smack in the
No.
middle?
1836.
All right, Brennan thinks 1836 will rank 17th. Taegen, who do you think will rank 17th?
I'm looking for a team that's gonna rank around 17. Give me just a moment. Who do you think's gonna rank 17th, Cobb?
I think 687 is going to rank 17th.
Okay. I think really hard. I'm thinking really hard. I think 7042 is going to rank 17th.
All right. So we
Nobody
have
went
our
for like a
beach.
bold, like Code Orange is seating 17th or something like.
You know
They
what?
just have a
Screw
bad
it. I
clause.
will
Something crazy.
screw it. Give me okay, I'll say 39 or 3309 is going to be
3309. I think they'll see below 17th.
Ooh. Well, let's say I'm saying 3309 will see 17th. They'll get picked probably like in the first round, but
Maybe.
I honestly have no idea.
Nicholas L says stop that. I
that
don't
was
know
when
what
you
that
were
means.
talking about Argon.
Oh. Yeah, I was not looking at chat.
The
I was looking
Argon
at.
jokes are gone.
Yeah, that one. That was during that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That kind of
Wraps up Beach
wraps
Blitz.
it up pretty much. Any other
Shout out.
final thoughts?
I just like there are 3 other off seasons happening listed on TBA, so shout out to them if you're going to be at Cowtown or Battle of the Bay or Brunswick Eruption. Good luck, have fun. None of them have team lists, so I don't know who's going, but whoever is going to those should have a good time.
I would imagine 1986 and 1987 are going to Cowtown Throwdown, but that's all I actually am confident in saying.
I took like a quick little look to see if I could find it on the website. But
All right. My Cowdown Throwdown predictions are 1986 and 1987 win the. That's my prediction.
I am looking. Oh yeah, and also Falcon, known lovingly throughout the SLFF community, head reffing Beach Blitz along with Danny. So have fun, guys. Call lots of
Danny head
fouls.
reffing
or don't.
alongside Falcon.
No, Falcon's head
Call-
reffing and Danny's with them.
I know, it's just funny.
Oh, we need an episode name.
We'll
for the
figure it out.
episode.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about it. We can talk about it later.
Well, I like it when it comes out of something that we said on the podcast.
It will. It just
Well, we can figure it out.
we don't need to officially decide what it is.
We don't need. Yeah, we don't need to talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Was it a final thought? That's my final thought. Is that
Are we
that.
not going to talk about the other thing, or are we going to do that next week?
We'll do it next week.
One day we'll get to it. One day we'll get
Okay.
to it.
We keeps putting it on the back burner, but we had
All right.
Bonus points to anyone who can guess what the topic that we want to talk about, but each week we've pushed it off because we've talked too long about something else. If you can guess that, you get
Like
bonus points.
specifically, we've talked a lot about Chezy Champs.
Yes.
Chezy Champs is done. It was a good event.
Yep.
We have lots of content on it. I'm looking forward to talking about more stuff. Oh, we are going to be regular-ish in terms of schedule now, which is good. So
Yeah.
weekly, same time, Wednesday evening. So for those of you who
Have nothing on Wednesday evenings at 10:30 p.m. Eastern.
you get to hang out with us and talk robots. So it's always a good time.
Oh, also, actually, I did make a sign up sheet or interest sheet for the game bracket we were talking
Beautiful.
about.
Great.
So I'm going to post that in chat. I think that will work. Let me know if it's not working, because it might
It
not
works.
Yep.
be. Okay, good.
Cool.
Cool.
So sign up.
Yeah, sign up if you're interested. We'll post it elsewhere as well.
Yeah, exactly. We want to get a bunch of different opinions, and that'll be in about 3 weeks probably. So,
Alrighty. Good night.
thanks everybody. Have a good night.
Bye.
See you guys.